Gentlemen, what is going on? My name is Ryan Mickler, and I am the host and the founder of the Order of Man podcast and movement. I want to welcome you here. Glad you're tuning in. I say this every week. We've got an important discussion and conversation, but, if I didn't think it was important, I probably wouldn't have it. So this isn't any different than what you've experienced in the past, but I do believe the topic, the discussion of today is going to be very valuable for you, not just in the short term, but over the rest of your life if you heed the information that I'm going to share with you. Now, you might be asking, who are you to tell me how I should behave and how I act, especially if you're new to what we're doing here. And it's likely that you are, because the growth that we've experienced has been phenomenal. It's been incredible. So I thank you for tuning in. Look, guys, I don't have it all figured out. I'll be the first to admit there's plenty of shortcomings and shortfalls and areas in which I need to improve in my own life, but I feel like I've got some things figured out. And I feel like as we band together with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of men now, we can learn and grow from each other. So what I'd encourage you to do is to take the good and leave the bad and apply what you think will work as it comes to being a better father, husband, business owner, community leader. And if you don't like what I have to share, then, maybe there's some things that I miss on, and that's okay too. I do the best that I can, but I'm not so arrogant to believe that I get it all right, although I think I get a lot right. So maybe somewhat arrogant, but not completely arrogant for what it's worth. All right, guys, with that said, let's get into the discussion today, which is all about making better decisions. We are, as men, a collection of the decisions that we make. And actually, maybe to take a step back, it's not even the decisions that we make, it's the results that we produce. We are defined by the results that we produce. Now, some of this is within our control. And quite frankly, a lot of the results that we produce and the circumstances in which we experience are completely beyond our control, or to somewhat our control and somewhat out of our control. But I think if we were to take a step back from just the results that we produce, I think, and I believe, that inevitably and over long periods of time, the results that we produce are generally going to average out to the types of decisions that we're making. So if we're making poor decisions, if we're chasing short-term results, we aren't living our moral lives, we aren't honoring our commitments, we're stepping out on our wives or the responsibilities that we have, we get addicted with things that we know we're not going to serve us or other people well, and we fall into this decision-making process, then I think inevitably the results that we produce are going to be inferior. And I know there's a lot of guys wondering, why haven't I produced the results? Why am I not experiencing wealth? Why am I not having the things that I want in my life? And very simply, it's because you're making poor choices. Now, again, some things are outside of our control, and I think there's some extenuating circumstances like the response to a perceived global pandemic that might affect your ability to, for example, earn an income. There's medical conditions that, in spite of you living as healthy as you possibly could, that you were diagnosed with cancer. These things are beyond our control. But generally speaking, and broadly, and over long periods of time, I think we're going to find that the better decisions that we make in our lives, the better off we're going to be and the better results that we're going to produce. So what I thought I would do with you today is share with you 5 simple tips for making better decisions. If you're in a position where you can take notes, please do that. If not, try to remember what I'm going to share with you today. Go back. They'll be in the show notes as well. You can subscribe to our newsletter at I'm so used to saying Origin Maine now at this point. It's not Origin Maine. You can subscribe to our newsletter at Order of Man. Sometimes I feel like I'm losing it a little bit, but orderofman.com, you can subscribe to our newsletter. And we're going to share more about this as well. So let's get into it. Number 1, making better decisions, create some margin and space. I used to have a friend that said, if it's a good decision today, it'll be a good decision tomorrow. And I know there are some time-sensitive decisions that we need to make, and I know that people are going to attempt to make their problems your priority, but I'm telling you, if it's a good decision right now, then it'll be a good decision tomorrow. And you don't need to make decisions as rashly and as quickly as maybe you think you do. Because I know when I make rash decisions, I typically make emotionally charged decisions. Because I know about myself that my emotions manifest themselves first. My rationale, my intellect, my critical thinking tends to lag behind my emotions. I think that's true for a lot of us. And I want to make decisions Not absent of emotion. I think emotion is a factor that needs to be considered. But I want to make my decisions based on logic and reasoning and rationale. And I want to be smart and informed and educated. And because that's a lagging factor for me, and I'm imagining it is for you as well, then what I need to do is not make my decisions so quickly. Because if I do, it's going to be based solely on emotion. And I want it to be those other things. So, slow down the decision-making process. Now, I found for myself that I have been better at this over the past several years. And as I slow down the decision-making process, I take a big, deep breath. I take a step back. I think about it. I give myself, even if it's 24 to 48 hours, or maybe in some circumstances it's a week. But if I give myself a little space, a little margin, I can come back into the decision-making process, re-engage with a new, more fulfilled, well-rounded approach to the decisions that I'm going to be making. Now, some things you don't need to wait 24 hours on. You know, should you make that purchase? Yes or no? You know. And other decisions that are going to require more time. Should I partner with this individual, or should I offer this product, or should I move to this different place in the world? Just give yourself some margin. Give yourself some space. I know we have short lifespans. If we were to pan out and look at it, 70, 80, 90 years is not a lot of time. It goes so quickly, especially as you get older. For me, as I approach 40, some of you think that's old, and I know my sons and daughter do. And some of you think that's young, but time seems to be speeding up. So I know we're time sensitive here. I'm just telling you, you can give yourself 24 to 48 hours before making important and crucial decisions that will impact your life and the life of the people you care about. So, number one, create some space and margin. That'll help you make better decisions. Don't be so rash. Even if you get into an argument with your wife or a discussion with her, just say, very frankly, hey, hon, look, I know we got to talk about this. I know you want a decision. Let me sleep on it. Or why don't you give me a couple of days, and on Monday, I'll think about it this weekend. I'll weigh some options. You and I will ask each other and answer some questions. And then on Monday, we'll decide what we want to do. Giving yourself the space is usually a good idea. All right, number two, and these aren't in any particular order, but number two is knowing what you want and what you don't. Because if you don't know what you want, then anything that could potentially come up might sound pretty enticing. You can make a little bit more money, you can have some more experiences, you can have a little bit more excitement and enthusiasm and fun in your life. But guys, if you don't know what it is that you want, what are you measuring your decisions against? And I can tell you, I know so many men, if I were to ask you, what exactly do you want out of life? Most guys would say, I want to make a little more money. I want to have a good relationship. I want to have some more sex. I want to have some experiences. I want to be important. I want to feel some influence in my life and other people's lives. I think we can all agree on these things. But look, there's a lot of things that could come up that would entice you with some immediate and short-term gratification. But if you can't measure it against what it actually and specifically is that you want out of your life, instead of saying, I want this much money, it's like, I want to make $200,000 a year, or I want to make 7 figures a year. How are you going to know if this is going to be a good decision or not? You're not, right? So instead of saying, I want to be healthy, what the hell does that mean? Does that mean you're capable of running a marathon on a drop of a dime? Does that mean that you can, deadlift 600 pounds? Does that mean that you're 10% or under in body fat? Does that mean that you aren't eating a bunch of sugar and processed foods? What exactly does that mean? When you say, well, I want to have a good relationship with my wife, welcome to the club. We all want to have a good relationship with our wife, but what the hell are you talking about? Does that mean you're having sex 5 times a week? Does that mean you have a deep and meaningful connection with her? Does that mean you're going on dates every week and that you're courting her? Or maybe, to set the bar very low, are you communicating? Are you talking on a daily basis? What do you mean? You got to know specifically what you mean. Well, I want to grow my business and I want to make lots of money. Cool. I commend you. How much money? What kind of business? How do you plan on growing that money? A friend and mentor of mine, a lot of you guys are familiar with, Sean Whalen, he challenged me years ago. He said, look, I know you want to make a lot of money, but how much money exactly do you want to make? And he challenged and pushed me and prodded me to come up with that number. And I said, okay, in the next 90 days, I want to make this amount of money. And he said, good, write it down. So I wrote it down. He said, good, now come up with a plan. Like, tell me how you're going to do that. And so I came up with a strategy. I told him how much I needed to do, how many more clients I needed to get, XXXX, all the stuff that I needed to do. And he said, okay, good, now go do it. And no joke, this was a 90-day plan. I think on day 85, I hit my target. Day 85, I'd never hit it before. On day 85, I hit my target because he told me to get specific with what I want. And then I looked at everything else that presented itself and I said, nope, that doesn't help me. Nope, that doesn't help me. Nope, that doesn't move the needle. Nope, that doesn't get me to where I want. Oh, but that one out of 20 potential things I could do, that little action right there is going to get me exactly where I want to go. So if you want to know more about how to figure out what you want, because I don't want to leave you high and dry here, because a lot of you guys are like, yeah, I would love to figure out what that is, but I don't know how to do it, then join our free email program. It's called 30 Days to Battle Ready. It's free. Full disclosure, it's going to direct you into the Iron Council, which is our exclusive brotherhood where there's a lot of accountability. So if you're interested in that, cool. If not, it's a standalone program, and you can take the resources and information and apply it to the best of your ability and get after it. But you can do that at orderofman.com/battle-ready. Orderofman.com/battle-ready. All right, let's move to point number 3. And I actually alluded to this in the past point that I made, which is knowing what you want. I talked about Sean Whalen as a mentor of mine. You got to find qualified friends and mentors and coaches. These are people that have walked the path before you. You know, if you're surrounded by people who have never been on the path that you want to go on, you guys are walking together. It's the blind leading the blind. How's that going to work? You know, a lot of people like to run their mouth. Oh, you should do this and do this and do that and do that. And, okay, tell me about your experience. Oh, well, I haven't done it. Well, why would I listen to you? You know, and I know that these individuals might have pure and noble intentions, but it's ignorant. I don't listen to ignorant people. And by the way, that's not a knock. I think people look at ignorance as some sort of like slight against people. Ignorance just means you don't know, period. Like you don't know. I'm ignorant about a lot of things. There's things that I do in my life that I want to get better at that I'm ignorant about. That doesn't make me lesser. It doesn't make me a bad human being. It just means I don't know what the hell I'm talking about or doing in this case. So I don't let the word ignorance mess with my ego. I just know if I'm ignorant about something and I want to become more knowledgeable about that thing, then I better surround myself with friends and coaches and mentors who are not ignorant, who know what the hell they're talking about. Like, why would you ever ask a guy that's 100 pounds overweight how to lose weight? He doesn't know how to do it. Or maybe he knows how to do it, but he's not implementing it. Either way, it's not going to serve you. What would you ever ask somebody who's up to their eyeballs in debt and broke and destitute how you can build wealth? I mean, some of you actually do. Like you ask your parents, like, what should I do with my money? And then you ask them, well, how are your parents financially? Oh, they're broke and they're in debt and yet you're asking them for advice. I mean, not only are they ignorant, now you're acting ignorant. I don't think you're acting ignorant. I think you're acting foolishly. Like you're asking people who have no idea what the hell they're talking about how they can help you do something they haven't accomplished for themselves. So go out and find mentors that are qualified, that are credible, that are reputable, that are producing the results that you're after and or producing the results for the clients or for their clients, what it is you're after, and surround yourself with those people. Ryan, how do I find a mentor? Well, you have a mentor right now. You have me. Now, some of you are better off in the areas of fitness and building wealth and your relationships than I am, and some of you are not. And so, you know, you look to me for advice and information that might serve you. I feel like I've got some things on lock and other things I don't. I'll let you determine what that is, and I'll try to be truthful about what that is with you. But this is indirect mentorship. The next step is hiring somebody, whether it's me or Sean or whoever it may be. And actually, that's not even the next step. The next step is buying books and courses and manuals and going to conferences. It's all out there, guys. It's all out there. It's available. So don't tell me you don't know how to do something. Just say, okay, where do I go to figure out how to do that? I'm building a canoe right now. A lot of you guys know that because I've shared it because I'm excited about it. And I don't know how the hell to do that. Like, I've never done that before. You know, I've done some basic, like, build a crappy shelf out of plywood for my wife or something. You know, I've done things like that, but I've never built a canoe. So what did I do? I bought a course, a program. I've literally got, I think they're over there on my desk. I've literally got 6 different canoe building books, and every time I get to a new step, I pull them all out. I'm like, okay, here's the step I'm on. Okay, this person says this person says that, this person says that. And then I formulate an answer, not on my own, but based on what these individuals are doing. So again, you got to find people who know what the hell they're talking about. You got to listen indirectly to books and tapes and podcasts and CDs and conferences and courses. And the next step is hiring coaches. Hire somebody. Pay them money to do it. Oh, Ryan, I don't have any money. Well, okay, then don't. And see how it works out for you. Or invest in yourself. Figure out a way to make it work. Last year, I probably spent something like, I don't know, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 on coaches and conferences and courses and programs and this and that. I wasn't always in that position. The first year I really got behind this, I realized, okay, well, I can spend $50 a month on some books or courses, and that was my budget. And now it's $5,000 a month. And at some point, maybe it'll be $50,000 a month, but I'll never outgrow it. So how do you make better decisions? Find people who've made better decisions and then do what they do. Okay, you might think, well, that's the easy path. Well, so be it. I'd rather go the easy route by somebody telling me, don't step there. You're going to hit a landmine right there. Step here instead. And then just do what the hell they tell me to do. All right, here we go. Number 4. So right now we've got number 1 is margin. Number 2 is knowing what you want and what you don't want, being specific about that. Number 3 is finding qualified friends, mentors, and coaches. And number 4 is you've got to care less about what people think of you. All right, if you're so worried about the optics of things, like how am I going to look? How am I going to be perceived? What are people going to think? What are people going to say? And that is your sole factor. That's your sole motivation for making decisions. Then you're going to make other people's decisions. You're not going to make your own decisions. Oh, I want to make, I just want this person to be happy or satisfied, or I want this even worse, I want this person to like me. What a horrible way to make decisions. Because I've made those decisions, guys, in the past. You have too, where I said, okay, I'm going to do this thing because if I do, then this person will like me. And guess what happens? They like you less because you're weak and you're a follower and you don't think for yourself and you're desperate in a lot of cases. So stop making decisions for other people, or at least for their approval. Now, look, sometimes I have to make decisions for other people. I have people that rely on me to make good decisions. My wife, my children, my employees, my partners, my clients. They rely on me to make good decisions. But I don't make decisions to make them feel good. I don't make decisions because I care about the way they view me. In fact, in a lot of cases, some of my clients actually don't like me very much because I push them. And I poke at them and I prod them in all the right places so they'll do what they've hired me to help them do. And that isn't comfortable and that isn't easy. But if I was so wrapped up in, will this person like me, then I would never make the right decision that will help that individual, and I'd never make good decisions for myself. And I'm willing to piss people off. I don't set out to piss people off, but I'm willing to face that risk. And it is a risk. Nobody wants people to dislike them. But that's what's required. If you're going to be an authority, a leader, and that's part of what masculinity is, to preside, we talk about that quite often, then you're going to have to make unpopular decisions. And you're going to have to base it on what is right and what is good and what is true and what is productive versus how will people feel about this. You can go back and listen to how to develop confidence and courage. We've talked about those things at length, and those are required when it comes to making decisions that are not always popular, but right. But that's what you need to do. And then the last one here, guys, number 5 is, and I talk about this quite often, but it's to evaluate past decisions. It's to be introspective. How often are you evaluating whether that last decision you made actually served you or not? I know a lot of guys who fly by the seat of their pants and they make these decisions rashly and quickly. They don't give themselves margin, and then they do it and it works or it doesn't, and they move on to the next thing. Well, that's the worst thing you could do, because you want to continually make good decisions. Making one decision that's in your best interest or is going to serve you or other people well is not enough, because luck isn't really a plan. Hope isn't really a strategy. All right? I want results that I can replicate, that I can duplicate over and over and over and over again. I want a system so that when I need to make more money, I can turn the system on. When I need to reconnect with my children, I have the process and the system for being able to do that. When I need to develop deeper relationships with my wife or other people that I care about, I know how to reach out to those individuals because I've done it before and I know what works and I know what doesn't. So I'm constantly evaluating. I'm constantly looking for feedback. What's working? What isn't? How did that go? How did it not go? What did I get done? What didn't I get done? What am I going to do tomorrow? This is a daily process for me. I've got it in my battle planner. It's right here in front of me. It's in front of me every single day. And I look at it in the morning. This is what I need to do. Here's what I did yesterday. Here's how it went. Here's how it could have gone better. Here's what I'm going to do today. And then I review it every night before I shut down in the office. Okay, here's what I did. Here's what I got accomplished. Here's what I need to do tomorrow. This is a system. All right, I don't fly by the seat of my pants. The things that you see me do, the decisions that I make aren't just kind of happenstance. It isn't, oh, Ryan got lucky. Hell no. I put in a boatload of work to get me to where I am right now. I realize I can be better, which is why I'm following the 5-step process I'm sharing with you here today. But this system, this tool, this process has helped me make infinitely better decisions, which has impacted my health and my wealth and my business and you and my family and every other facet of life that I care about. And I know you care. You wouldn't be listening to this podcast if you didn't. You do care. So make better decisions so that you can produce better results for yourself, for your family, for your kids, your neighbors, your friends, the people you love, the people you serve, complete strangers. That's what we're supposed to do as men. And it requires us making good, sound, productive decisions. Let's recap. Number 1, create margin and space. Number 2, know what you want and what you don't want so you can have a litmus test to run your decisions against. Number 3, find and hire qualified friends, mentors, and coaches. Number 4, care less about what other people think. Develop courage, develop confidence. And number 5, evaluate your past decisions so you can make better decisions moving forward. All right, guys, that's what I've got. Hit me up on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're doing the social media thing. I will be there. I try to engage and respond to everything that I get. It's becoming increasingly more difficult, but I do try to make a conscious effort to do that. I appreciate you guys standing this battle. We got a lot of work to do this year, ton of work. I'm excited about it. I know a lot of people are afraid and worried and concerned, and while I can certainly appreciate that, there's also a lot to be hopeful for and optimistic about. But we've got to create that for ourselves, and we've got to band together to make sure that happens. All right, guys. We'll be back on Tuesday of next week. I'm actually traveling this week, so I'll be back next week for some more interviews and everything else, and just want to thank you for standing in this mission with us. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Until then, go out there, take action, and become the man you are meant to be.